What's going on, everybody? This is your boy, man, up here. Y'all are in the man cave. We got another great topic for y'all today. Who do I have joining me today?
The usual suspects.
I know, right?
Today we're going to talk about, the cosmetics of wrestling, of professional wrestlers, excuse me. And what we mean by that, different eras of body types, like back in the day, whatever, tall, big, and buff, short, not as buff, like a Rey Mysterio or something like a Shawn Michaels or Mick Foley, something of that nature, around there. So let's go ahead, kick back, get your popcorn, put your seatbelt on. Let's enjoy this conversation. Mr. Joey, this is a topic you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, you can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. It's been all over social media. You've seen the criticism. There's been a little bit of criticism from members of the professional wrestling business and some fans towards certain wrestlers, namely two of the most popular ones that have been talked about recently are Adam Cole and Eddie Kingston. It's just about, body types and what it takes. Is that a factor in becoming a bigger star, becoming a superstar in professional wrestling? What does it take? And it's kind of a sensitive topic, obviously, because you have people that have called it body shaming to talk about them in regards to that. You have people that have been very sensitive to that. You have, and then you have people on the other side. But I definitely think it's worth talking about. It's something we talked about before. Is kind of like people don't want to touch on because they're afraid of what other people are going to say. But I think it's an important topic because it's always been something that's never been officially said by like Vince McMahon in WWE. Mm-hmm. But let's be honest, when you see Batista as the champion,
I hear what you're saying. As a basis, like this has been the case for wrestling for a long time, and a lot of and you looking for a specific type or whatnot. It's just more recently as to where we're in a more sensitive time now than back then, and like a lot of things that were commonplace and were status quo, everything gets questioned now.
Right.
Yeah. And what we mean by this is, a lot of people have been accused of being juiced up, if y'all know what I'm trying to say. I can't use a certain word on social media, but y'all get what I'm trying to say, hopefully. If you don't, performance enhancing substances. I put it like that. Mm-hmm. Thank you, that Miss Cedric. I couldn't think of nothing a better way to say it.
Teamwork.
But then also too, like Joey and Mr. Cedric has said, back in the day, Vince McMahon did love the tall, buff guys. So it was kind of a shocker to see someone that's not buff like a Shawn Michaels, be a champion, or someone that was kind of out of shape like a Mick Foley. Or then it was even more shocking to see someone that's the height of a Rey Mysterio. So we want to touch on this kind of subject because, a lot of people has been talking about this, and, we want to give our 2 cents. Go ahead, Joey, and, express what you mean.
Well, that's definitely what you just said there, talking about guys like Mick Foley, talking about guys like Rey Mysterio. Kevin Owens is another one that have been exceptions to those unspoken rules, so to speak. However, like it always comes down to, them wanting it. I mean, them wanting a certain body type. And you look back in the 1980s when this was becoming a thing, when we moved from, the 70s, which was more of the smoke-filled, buildings, guys built like Harley Race, Dick Murdoch, big, burly looking, fight looking dudes, but, not necessarily, they're not ripped up with abs and everything. They just look like guys that would fight, that legitimately could be in a fight. to the time when Vince McMahon kind of took it to the next level. He wanted when he laid eyes on guys like Hulk Hogan. He saw a guy 6'7", 6'8", jacked, with all the muscle and everything like that. And then, you look at guys like Tony Atlas, Rocky Johnson, all these guys that were big, 6 foot something, muscled up. These were what became commonplace as the stars. And we talked about it before in another video where you guys talk about yourself having like fond memories of guys like the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
75% of his appeal is the cosmetic, is the appearance, because Lord knows he wasn't going to be in there throwing deep arm drags and drop kicking and stuff like that. The sell was on the fact that this man looked like something straight out of a movie or a comic book, like he had the wild hair, he had the colorful everything, but he had, gigantic muscles, and like he looked like something somebody drew and it jumped off a page.
Right.
And it was a big part of how, he got over. There's countless other examples, but it was an important part of the time. And until the famous trial that Vince McMahon went through in the early 90s, that didn't change. And that's when you started seeing a guy like Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels, these guys kind of be able, even Ric Flair, when he came to the WWE, from WCW. A couple years before that, none of those guys would have been champion, period. Like, it just wouldn't have happened.
But definitely not taking anything away from those guys, because Bret Hart had a nice look. Shawn Michaels had a nice look. Ric Flair had a nice look. It's not like they're scrawny guys.
No.
Hell, Ric Flair at 73 years old still doing freaking over 1,000 freaking free squats every damn day. Me, I can't. I'm over here with a bag of damn gummy bears right here. So, hey, I ain't taking away nothing from nobody. So.
But they definitely weren't body guys. They weren't. They didn't. Those guys were all in shape. You look at Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart back in the time of the. They all need to work on their faces. What? Okay. But you look at back at the time when those guys were in the tag teams, they were all muscled up. Like, they were all looking like they were. I mean, you could clearly tell all the way through their careers, all those guys were in the gym. They all had good looks, but they just were never going to be, body guys. They were never going to be 6'8". They were never going to be big, huge. They didn't have the genetics either to have they just didn't have that. And that kind of went away until guys like The Rock came on and, were bigger guys again that kind of carried that look, and Triple H, and, it became a thing again.
Yeah, that's on the grand scheme. But going back to that 80s time frame or not, well, like Memphis, for example, on the come up. Tell me about Bill Dundee in Memphis. Bill Dundee was like 5'7", 210 pounds, but he was over like gangbusters in Memphis.
Yeah. But
so it's like on the grand scheme, you had this and whatnot, but it's catering to your true audience. That's basically what it is. You can't tell the people in Memphis that Bill Dundee wasn't what his nickname was, a superstar.
Right. Absolutely. And on the smaller scale that worked, but you look at when he wanted to go national and make some money, what did he end up doing? Being Lord Steven Regal's manager.
He got titled with a gimmick in WCW.
Yeah. And I mean, compared to Regal, he was, he looked tiny.
Exactly.
Like Regal, because Regal's at least 6'1" or so, and just Bill Dundee looked tiny compared to him, and so it made. Plus, Bill was getting up there in age too, so it kind of was a good fit for him to take less bumps, get a good payday, and and get to do his thing in wrestling. I mean, even what's his name, Robert Fuller, when he became Colonel Robert Parker.
That dude.
He was red hot in the territories as a wrestler, but and don't get me wrong, his character in WCW was great too. Like that him and Sensational Sherry and that whole thing was hilarious. Like
it really was.
But anyway, going back to it, I guess I'll go back to the beginning too here. So for me, I don't think somebody saying that Eddie Kingston losing 30 pounds and getting in a little bit better shape and him making it to the next level is necessarily a bad thing for somebody to go, hey, quit body shaming the guy, because it wasn't 6 months ago he himself came out and was like, hey, I'm going to quit smoking and get in shape so I can have a world title run. And it's like, okay, do it, I don't see what's necessarily wrong with that, but people jump right on it. They're like, no, Eddie Kingston's fine the way he is.
But in the grand scheme of things, in this era that we're in, does the body type really matter? Does it really matter?
To me, to a certain degree, because you want to stay in decent shape for all the physical activities you're going to put your body through.
Of course.
Now, of course, endurance is the biggest thing. That's why I think Kevin Owens can go like he goes. You can always see that big old gut sticking out of his shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he has the endurance of a 12-year-old kid running around. So I get what Vince used to talk about when he would say get in better shape, because it does help your endurance. But certain people, with their body type, only, can go so far.
This Mark says, Mark, I love that comment. And Mark, thanks for tuning in again this week, man. Yeah.
Mark says Eddie Kingston looks like that uncle who drinks beer all the time and would go to school to threaten the bullet to take the lunch money.
He's not wrong. He is your alcoholic uncle. Like,
oh man.
So here's what I'll say to that. Is there a place in the wrestling business for Eddie Kingston the way he looks? Absolutely.
Yes.
Because he makes it work for him.
Yeah.
Is that place the main event and being the top guy in AEW? I'm gonna say when you look what is he missing? First off, that John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, and everybody else who's at the top. What is he missing that those guys have? Well, first off, it's star power. He's missing a lot of that. These guys are household name professional wrestlers because they're WWE guys from before. They made their name over there. Everyone knows who they are. And they like Cedric talks about, they fit the bill with that audience too. They're the best of all worlds combined, which was where CM Punk was too, just to be honest.
I will say, if AEW made Eddie Kingston the world champion, that fan base would not care. I will go out on a limb and I will say that.
Yeah.
From a grand scheme of things, whatnot, business wise, whatnot, and overall appeal or whatnot, it might not be the best option, but that fan base will give would not shit on the fact if Kingston became AEW world champion.
But however, Tony, but the kind of the theory that Tony Khan is just sticking to entertain his fan base is not true anymore. Tony Khan has come out himself in the media scrum and everything and say, of course, he wants to attract new viewers. He wants to build up his audience. He does. And that's going to be a factor there. And that's why you're seeing more than likely Bryan Danielson's about to be AEW world champion for a reason. Because he's got the following. He's still super popular.
You're making your prediction already, huh?
Yeah, because it's come out in all the dirt sheets anyway that Moxley wanted to go on vacation, and the only reason he's doing this tournament is because, come on now, and Danielson just came back, and since he's been there, he's wanted to be the champion. It's pretty obvious, and they're going to probably give Moxley a little time off since he's been running with the ball anyway, and then give Danielson the run that a lot of his fans want to see anyway. But regardless, if whoever wins it, it's the same thing. And Eddie Kingston, there's definitely a place on the card for him again. He's definitely entertaining. That's what even Jericho said. He's got a main event mouth on him. but he's missing the rest of the package. You know, he's missing it. He can run that mouth with the best of them. He's up there with MJF and all of them. But if you have to pick, when you pick between a guy who's that good of, you look at Eddie Kingston, and he's not like Kevin Owens. He can't go 60 minutes and kill it in the ring. He looked like he'd dying, you know. It's just the way it is. That's probably because he smokes too, and he admits that. That's not good. But, you know, when you look at a guy like that versus a guy like MJF, who's obviously tracking to move up, you know what I mean? And you have the choice between those two, and they both have the main event mouth. They both can talk like that. But then MJF is 20-something years old, cosmetically appealing, looks good, has a decent body without being on, you know, the juice or anything. You know, clearly he's not on anything, but he's fit and he has muscle. Like he's there. Like he's got a good look. Who you gonna pick? You know what I mean? Like, and let's be honest, whether I'm not going to go into whether it's a work or a shoot, but MJF has done his job. People believe in this storyline.
Yeah.
No matter how much of it, what percentage is real versus work, it doesn't matter. People are into it and they're into him.
Let me ask y'all a question real quick. Have y'all seen the documentary of Edge?
No.
Okay. He talked about when he first came, he didn't fit a certain build either that Vince wanted. Yes, he's tall, but he didn't have the body type at first. He was kind of scrawny a little bit, had a little bit of muscle tone, you know. But he ended up talking about how he had to, you know, get his endurance up, get his build up and stuff like that as well. And we all seen pictures of Edge, you know, he was jacked at one point in time. He was jacked. I mean, he wasn't no Dwayne The Rock Johnson or nothing like that, but he was pretty decent shape for his size. Yeah. So he talked about that as well too. He had to get, you know, do what his boss told him. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I want to talk about one of my favorites, and I'm talking about Keith Lee. When that's one of the reasons why he left the WWE and went to AEW, because Vince wanted to give him a big push, but told him to get in shape, told him to stop with all this high flying flips for a guy his size. He didn't want to do it. He ended up losing a little bit of weight, but not enough, I guess you could say. And I guess that wasn't appeasing enough to Vince. So that's why Vince let him go. That's why he's now in AEW. Now, I'm going to say this here. I see it on both sides. I do. But because when you got somebody like Andre the Giant, you got the Big Show, Mick Foley, guys that were not in shape, that you gave huge pushes to, Keith Lee shouldn't be no difference. Now, on Vince side, I see what Vince is saying, because he's been doing this since he was a little boy, because his grandfather was the one who started the company. Then his dad, now him, now, you know, his kids, Stephanie. But anyway, so Vince been saying this for the longest. So Vince is telling you what he feels like he wants in his company for you to do. It's just like with any job. Yeah. If the job tells you to do something, 9 times out of 10, you're going to do it. Right. You know, it's your sustainability, it's your income, it's your way of life, you know, stuff like that. So I kind of see it on both sides though. So, but with that being said, doing a sport like this, you have to be in good shape or at least in good physical endurance. And when I used to watch Keith Lee a lot, I would always see him breathing heavy, like trying to push himself to go. Now I'm going to flip this a little bit and go to like R-Truth, aka Ron Killings or whatever you want to call him. He's in great shape, but his endurance was crap. When he came to, well, I ain't gonna say when he came, but at one point when he was in WWE, and it's been talked about how he used to be smoking, and Vince told him to stop smoking, you know. And when he stopped smoking, that's what his endurance came back, but he's got up in age, so he didn't get that push. He just now for this comedic role with the 24/7 title, all that good stuff. So I get what like I said, I see it on both ends, but doing a sport like this, you have to be in great shape. You have to be.
Yeah, definitely. Oh,
What
yeah.
you think, there, Mr. Cedric?
I'm just reading a comment down there, too. Uh-oh, he's got his mute on.
You muted.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's spot on, spot on. I mean, like you need to be in a position because your body goes through a whole lot being a wrestler. First and foremost. So I get all that. But in relation to like the different body types and everything and what not, you're saying like employer wants a specific type for their company, whatnot. The rest they have their opinion, whatnot. It's no different than in other aspects of the entertainment industry, movies and whatnot, where they're casting for somebody 175 to 195 pounds, 6'2", 6'4". It's no freaking different.
Yep, that's true.
Muscular guy. If they want a muscular guy, they're gonna ask for a muscular guy. If they want a heavy set guy, they're gonna ask for a heavy set guy. It is no freaking different.
Yep.
Yep.
I told a story. I was telling Man Up before we went on that one time I did a commercial where I played Eli Manning, and all I did was wear the whole Ole Miss football garb. And it's because I'm 6'5" white dude, and with the helmet on, you couldn't tell I wasn't him really. Like, that's literally how I got the part. I had no speaking lines in the commercial or anything. I was signed to an agent at the time. They said, hey, we're paying X amount of money to show up in Memphis and cut this deal, cut this commercial, and this is what we need. And literally, I got that job because I was the same height as Eli Manning. And they wanted, and just talking, they wanted cosmetically, they wanted people to be somewhat fooled at least that it was really him appearing on the commercial or whatever. You know, it's very common, and it's just my opinion that people that, if you're going to be, okay, I got no problem with people having whatever body type they want in life. But when you get into the, like you said, into the entertainment industry, understand that based on what you look like and everything, your height, your weight, your build, you know, your hairstyle and or lack thereof can definitely limit well, but sometimes that's what they want, right? You know, so if they ask for somebody that looks like you and then I walk in there, I'm not getting that job. I mean, and they're going to look at me and be like, oh, okay, like, well, you'll never work here at all now because you crazy walking here. Like, but it's just like that. And to me, like I was saying before, I think one time we were talking that when TNA first started up, I was there. I was there in Nashville, not when they taped in Huntsville the first time when they did the first and second pay-per-view were out of Huntsville. They went live with the first one, taped the second one, but then they went to Nashville right after that and lived there. Well, I was there and I was trying to get a job. And at the time, I did not look like what they wanted. And they let me know that. And so it was a done deal. It's like, hey, if you want to work here, this is what I need you to go do. And I went and did it. But by the time I got there, it you know, they moved on and they kind of had what they wanted. And it, you know, that's a different story. But, you know, it's, you know, no different than later on, just a couple years later, I got offered a job from WWE where they wanted me to teach people, but not actually perform the job. And that seems to be a common theme. But like, yeah, they wanted me at OVW teaching people in promo class, training announcers, training stuff like that. But then they said that, and even though I had done live events for them, you know, when I asked them point blank, is there ever a chance for me to get called up and go on the road? The answer was straightforward, no. And so that weighed heavily on my decision, you know, to decline that job. But you know, it's just it's based on cosmetic.
I want to go back to what you said right there when you said you had got a role to play Eli Manning, because y'all about the same height, same build. Yeah, facial structure, you look nothing like him.
No, but so in a helmet,
you had that helmet on and a uniform. Of course, people are going to think you look like. I mean, you are him. You know what I'm saying? And I that's the whole point of what we're saying. People want, when you're in the entertainment business, and Cedric said it best, when you doing the movies, commercials or whatever. People want a certain type.
Yeah.
And you can argue all you want. It's just what it is.
Right.
You know, is it fair? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think so. But what can you do about it? It's
Look
a company.
Who's on top in look who's on top in WWE right now. Has anything really changed that much?
Nope.
With that, as far as that, going back in time, when you look at who the WWE champion is, the US and IC champ, granted Gunther's not Muscle Man, but he's a big, meaty dude.
He's a big dude.
You know,
yeah,
like what is it? Like Big E said, big meaty dudes beat whatever it is. like chopping meat.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing. I'm gonna go back to Rey Mysterio. You probably can't help how tall you is, but you can help your body type. And Ray did. Well, I mean, now he's older. You know, you're getting older. You know, your body's not gonna adjust to all of that stuff anymore. But he was in great shape.
Yeah.
And great shape. I mean, phenomenal shape.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, yeah, like I said, he's old. He's like, what, 46, 45, somewhere around there, give or take. 45. You know, your body ain't going to be able to keep up with all that no more. Gravity takes over. That's just what it is. And gravity is undefeated.
If you want to, now we were talking about Eddie Kingston. Now if we're just to compare to guys like Rey Mysterio and Mick Foley, those guys had something Eddie does not. Those guys connected with everybody.
Yes, you know, they did.
And that's what got them to the top, because and let's be honest, they still made it to a point. All of Mick Foley's 3 title reigns were inside like 6 months, you know, so it's not like he had a long reign on top, you know. But the point is, it was the right time, working with the right guy like The Rock that wanted to work with him, that wanted to do this type thing. And it worked out for him. But Mick had something when he was given the opportunity to where he connected with millions and millions of people, and that propelled him to that. It could not be denied.
True.
And that's something that Eddie Kingston has not done. You know, that's something that we're talking about, like Adam Cole, you know, receiving criticism, and Booker T, who is actually real life friends with Adam, saying something about what he thinks Adam should do to get to the next level. And Booker took a lot of criticism for that, and then he's in reality, he's like, I like Adam Cole. We're actually friends. We text and stuff. Like, so when you're throwing shade at me and stuff like that, saying that I don't know what I'm talking about, I ought to leave him alone because I'm hating on him. He's like, Adam Cole reaches out to him for advice. That's somebody, you know, he looks up to, and like Booker T. But because Booker's legit, 2-time Hall of Famer, you know, 6-time world champion. You can't take that away from Booker T.
He won 36 championships. 36.
And just for insight, the man runs a wrestling school that is basically a feeder to WWE.
Yep.
If anybody knows what the hell he's talking about with Booker T, it just is what it is.
I guarantee you, when they want to hire his students, and, you know, Hunter and Sean and people like that are talking to Booker like, hey, what's this? What do you think about this one? Because I saw him on your thing. Hey, are they ready? Is she ready to come up?
Anytime WWE's in Texas, they're pulling folks from his school.
Yes.
So it's like he knows what he's talking about.
And he goes to show.
Look at the longevity. Look at the longevity that he's had. You mean to tell me he don't? And he's still in great shape for his age. He's still in great shape. So of course he's going to give that advice. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, kind of on the same topic, but I'm gonna talk about one of my favorite basketball players, Hakeem Olajuwon. He's been retired since, I want to say, like 2003, 2002, whatever. People still come to him. He built his own basketball gym. People still go to him, learn how to learn on his footwork.
Yeah.
The man is pushing 60 years old, still know how to move.
Yeah.
So of course, with Booker T, now going back to Booker T, of course, people are going to come to him because look at what he has done in his career.
Yeah.
So for people to throw shade at Booker T, y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
Yeah.
First of all, get into the industry. Yeah, you're right, Cedric. Get into the industry, figure out what it is that needs to be done to
Keyboard warrior.
figure out what it is that needs to be done to maintain longevity and have a successful career in this industry. And it is one of them is good endurance. What is Cedric doing?
Anger emoji, middle finger. like, have a couple of sit downs. Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I know what you're talking about because I've seen that, but I didn't know he got hate for it. But I seen him saying that Adam Cole needs to get more in shape. I did see that.
Twitter.
I didn't say anything. I just said, "Oh, okay." I'm basically,
he doesn't look. I mean, I don't know if he does. What his fitness routine is, but Adam Cole looks like he has like the potential to have a build, but it's just not there. And it looks like to me, he just looks like the type of guy that runs on the treadmill all the time, but doesn't actually like bench press or lift at all or anything like that. And if, it's not a lot, but if he just got a little bit leaner and had about 10 pounds of muscle on him, it'd be a different story. Nobody's saying, hey, get out there and look like freaking superstar Billy Graham tomorrow or something like that. But, like how, but the thing is, like, come on, man. Like, it's
well, but I say again, you said 10 pounds of muscle, do some more to cardio. Does it really matter?
Yes.
Does it? No, it doesn't. I don't think it does. Because
like I said, it matters for endurance.
Oh, baby, works. That freaking works.
What we're saying is, can you go in a 20-minute match?
He can.
No. I'm not talking about him per se. I'm just saying in general.
Okay.
Can you go in a 20-minute match? Sometimes 30, 40, 50-minute match. Look at the Undertaker's match against Triple H, that Hell in a Cell. That was like a 45-minute match. You don't think they needed good endurance for that?
I'm sure
not even just that, but would you say the whole Adam Cole Bebe thing works? It works in front of live crowds, but it's not moving the needle. That's the end result. Hiring him hasn't done anything to further the growth of AEW. The only person they've hired that has moved the needle, like with proof so far, is CM Punk.
And with that said, it got the spike. And from what I said, that needle went back down to where it was. So they're not really. It's not real. It's not really the people that they're bringing in. They just can't get over that hump, and that's something AEW has to worry about. It's not because of a particular person. It's just they're not getting those new viewers. They're getting those curious ones to see what.
Well,
he's back. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but when they were trying to bring up Adam Cole to the main roster at WWE, they, Vince saw him, like, I guess in, clothes and was like, well, you're going to be a manager if you come up here. There's a reason, because he looks like your next door neighbor with long hair. Like, he doesn't, and that's what I'm saying. That's an old saying that goes back into business right there. People don't buy tickets to see people that look like the guy that runs the cashier. That's the cashier at Walmart.
Right.
They want to see people, and it's like the circus, man. The freak show always sells to a degree. It just does. The Undertaker wouldn't have worked if he had been 5'7". It just wouldn't have worked. But the bottom line is, Adam Cole he's not a short guy, I don't think. Like, it's just, he just comes out there and he's got this cutoff t-shirt on. And he's got buggy whip arms, as Jim Cornette says. He's got these little skinny arms. And it's just like, there's the cosmetic aspect of it. It's when I see that, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, for me, that is something that I don't take seriously, because if I'm going to put him in the ring with Goldberg, am I going to believe him doing a number on Goldberg and pinning him? You know what I mean? Am I going to believe him beating?
Yeah. I get what you're saying there. There's suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
And then there's just taking that to the extreme. No, I'm not gonna believe that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
And I guess in that instance, if you put that person into the another example. First, the first SmackDown on Fox for the WWE title, Kofi Kingston and Brock Lesnar for the title. Kofi Kingston is champion. Ding ding ding. F5 pin 1 2 3 new champion. They did we really think Kofi was going to put it to Brock Lesnar?
No.
So
you know, it's and Kofi.
And we talked about that before off camera before too.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why Vince took the title off of him.
Yeah.
Because Kofi wouldn't. I'm not gonna say he wouldn't. I just don't know if he could or couldn't. I don't know that for sure. But Vince did want Kofi to beef up a little bit. Kind of hence why
he can't.
Montez Ford for the Street Profits beefed up. I know y'all noticed that.
But Kofi can't beef up. At least in the chest, he can't, because he's got nerve damage there that has, he's got the same thing Scott Steiner got, except it was obviously terrifyingly noticeable for Steiner, which is why he got that giant cross tattoo in his chest to try to divert your attention from that growing gap in his chest. But Kofi, I know Kofi has a medical condition with his chest
he said he got that after he got a chop from the Big Show. That's what Kofi said.
I probably believe it. But
I agree. But y'all make a good point right there too. Is Kofi? Would you believe it if Kofi pinned Brock Lesnar? No.
I mean, if the APA came out there and
if the APA, the rest of the New Day, and everybody else,
and I mean, honestly, like let's go back to when Brock worked with AJ Styles and worked with Daniel Bryan. He gave those guys a little bit, mainly because they were on pay-per-view and he had time. And I'm pretty sure Brock got orders to go out there and do that with Kofi. Like, that's probably, I'm not going to take a personal shot at Brock and be like, no, he just didn't see Kofi as an opponent. He might have wanted to give him a little bit, but they wanted that shocking, it sounds like they just wanted that shocking ending on that match to just be like it was. But at the same time, who won those matches with AJ and Brock and Daniel Bryan and Brock? In the end, Brock won them because, at the end of the day, it's still hard to buy these guys getting, beating a guy 3 times their size. It's a hard visual. You got to have, you believed Kofi being able to beat Daniel Bryan, because of the storyline and everything, and the visual.
Give or take, same size, here, there, give or take. But see, and that's the thing too, as well too, because I want to switch this up a little bit with the cosmetics. We've been talking about the guys. Let's talk about the ladies.
Oh yeah.
And the reason, what? Say it again.
No, I'm just saying you're right, and I go ahead because
and the reason why is because we talked about this before. Me and my wife, we sit down, we watch wrestling together. We've been to a few events together and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to name any names. I'll let y'all if y'all choose to. But there has been times that my wife will sit here and say she don't believe that this particular female wrestler is a real wrestler. They just there for eye candy, stuff like that, or crap, anything, things of that nature. And y'all probably know who I'm talking about because I talked about it before in previous lives. But I put it like this here. When you got the baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey, do you think Alexa Bliss going to actually beat Ronda Rousey? Do you really think
now with the credentials and the name power of in a legitimate fight? No.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think Alexa Bliss can beat up a Bianca Belair? No. Or even let's go to AEW and a Jade Cargill. Do you think Alexa? No.
Well,
now, like I said, you can't do nothing about your height. Your height is your height, and that's set for life. But you could do something about your physical appearance. You could do something about how you work in the ring, things like that. So it's kind of like what you were saying there, Joey. Like, do you really think Kofi Kingston is going to beat a Brock Lesnar? Do you really think Alexa Bliss is going to beat Bianca Belair or even the other, I forgot her name already. That fact, she on SmackDown.
Raquel
Yeah,
Gonzalez.
Raquel Rodriguez. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yeah,
No, you're not.
That to me was my criticism at the Clash at the Castle with Liv Morgan and Shayna Baszler. It looked like Shayna was pretty much laying the map out and just given to her, and Shayna's twice her size. And to me, the girl just looks like she's there for eye candy, and looked like she was on the struggle bus for a lot of it. Like, not, she was just looked like she wasn't. To me, the finish, everything, just it really wasn't believable the way it was done. But I will flip that, because an example of this being done right is when if you watch TNA back in the day when Gail Kim and Awesome Kong were working together.
Yeah.
It can be done, but it has to. You gotta have a story there. There's got to be something to it, and you got to, first off, you have to have the connection that Gail Kim had with the audience that was watching her too. Like, Gail Kim is an example of a really good babyface that connected with the fans and had people into her. And they told a story with that feud where at first Kong was just beating the mess out of her and dominating her. And then it started to change as the storyline progressed and as everything changed and stuff like that. You got to give people a reason to believe. And
okay, let me further what I'm trying to say here. It's kind of like, I want to go back to that Monday Night Raw that I attended earlier this year, February the 7th. Doudrop versus Liv Morgan. Nobody actually really thought Liv Morgan was going to win. So what did Doudrop? She did her splash off the middle rope onto Liv, 1, 2, 3. Now, let's flip that a little bit. I'm going to go to Becky Lynch versus a Doudrop. It was, I want to say that was a Monday Night Raw as well. That was another episode of Monday Night Raw. Only way Becky Lynch won, because Lil Doudrop got up on the ropes, was punching Becky, and Becky kind of flipped into a power bomb off the second rope. That's how she picked up the 1, 2, 3. Now, Alexa Bliss is not nowhere near strong enough to even pretend like she's doing that.
Right.
So that's what we mean by when we're saying, like, do you have the endurance? Do you have the look? Do you have the strength of all that to do what is needed of you?
If I suspend my disbelief, Alexa Bliss can do anything in this world.
Yeah, but what you just said, what was the first couple of words you just said? Suspend your belief.
You got to get somebody there. You got to take me there. You got to get me to do it. When I sit down to watch wrestling, I don't sit down going, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and put myself in this zone. I need to be brought into that. Like, that's to me, when it's done right, is when you can do that. And it goes back to, look at Hulk Hogan run in the 80s. Mm-hmm. The best feuds people remember he were with dudes that were bigger than him, because ultimately
that was the majority. That was the majority.
Well, except for like Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper. Right. But those guys were exceptional heels that could get the heat. You had to have somebody that could get it, but it's hard, it's hard to have a baby face who's that big. That's why when you want to go back to the picture of a perfect baby face, a lot of people always go back to Ricky Morton, because he's a little bitty dude who could do a lot of stuff, but at the same time, he was so good. Like, he could get the sympathy. He knew just what to do out there with the crowd to get them into it. And that's why to this day, he's still just so good and miles above, a lot of people in the business today. And he's in his 60s, because he's just so good at the baby face and being a baby face and and telling the story out there and getting, knowing how to sell and stuff like that. But people, so it's okay for the baby face to be smaller and get over in the long run. But I'm not just going to go into it believing it wholeheartedly from the beginning, going, well, I want to enjoy this, so I'm going to suspend my disbelief. No.
Right.
I want you to take me there as a performer. I want you to give me a reason to believe that. And, with like Andre and Hogan, they gave us a reason, because nobody believed anybody could beat Andre. When they had their match at WrestleMania 3, you did not believe at the time that Andre the Giant could be beat.
Now, I'm picking back on what you just said. Take me there. Remember when Riddle had that championship match against Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
We all knew Roman Reigns was going to win. Because
Yes.
his star power, his heel, and we all know Riddle cannot beat Roman Reigns. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah.
Now, who you wanted to win is a different story versus who's actually going to win and why they're going to win. See what I'm saying? Yeah. So when we saying this, I want people to understand that we're not really attacking anyone. We're just saying, look, this is what it is. And put it like this here. Did y'all know whenever they need a stunt double for Dwayne Johnson when he do his movies? Do y'all know that he has a cousin that somewhat looks like him?
Yeah. Yeah, I read
That's his stunt double. Same height, same facial structure, kind of look like him. I mean, the dude is not as big and strong. That's why, the cameras kind of fool you a little bit when they're doing the stunts. But it's like Cedric said, when you're in this entertainment industry, when you're watching a movie, it's a certain style, a certain look that people want. And you can't change that.
Yeah.
That's never going to go away.
Remember when Dwayne Johnson went through his phase in the 2000s where he conveniently lost about 50 pounds of muscle and wanted to be taken seriously as an actor, and he looked like President Obama a little bit. I mean, he kind of did.
He slimmed down a lot.
Yeah, I
he was still more muscular than the average person, but
exactly.
But in the suit and everything, like when he inducted his dad into WWE Hall of Fame and the neck was skinnier and he didn't have the traps and stuff like that, it was like, who is this? He had this little goatee going on. It was like, who in the heck is this? But
remember that.
At the end of the day, he looked at how much money he was making trying to be this serious actor, and then he looked at how much money he could make being The Rock, in movies and being the action star and being able to be goofy and play those roles and stuff like that. And he made the right choice for him, obviously, because he's probably the biggest star in Hollywood right now. And if he'll do it, he's gonna, he'll make as many movies as he want to, because they'll put him in stuff like Jumanji and he can still be big muscled up and play that role perfect.
It's kind of like what you're saying right there. Look what Will Smith had to do to get the role of Ali. He had to beef up.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Let's be honest too. Like we talked about this offline. There may be a wellness policy in WWE. And I'll say this, the business has changed a lot to where guys aren't just walking around with bottles of muscle relaxers and, opioids in their bag, at least to the degree that they were, because the body count slowed down too. So I'm not knocking the WWE's wellness policy, because ultimately you can say what you want about enhancement supplements and things like that, but ultimately the best thing that's come out of it is getting them to stop drinking so much and taking as many pills. That's the big thing that was really hurting the wrestling business, and the reason all these guys didn't wake up, like in a hotel room. It really comes down to that more than it does the performance enhancing substances. But it can't be denied that there is a lot less people using them now, but there is clearly still some people that are using them.
Of course there is. But I think what is the perfect body type that's going at it right now in professional wrestling that y'all think, male and female?
In shape.
Who?
In shape. Just be,
no. Who is it? No, who is it?
Oh, you want a person?
Yeah, male and female.
It's hard to deny Bobby Lashley. Like that's the physique of the WWE superstar. Like, he's tall, he's huge, he's he's definitely got the look, and his cosmetic appearance has only gotten better with like alterations to his ring gear, getting out of the shorts and into the long tights. I honestly think that works for him better. Like, I think that helped a lot with his appearance and stuff like that. On some guys, it makes their legs look super skinny. On him, it don't matter because he's jacked, anyway. Like, he got big legs and big upper body. He's got He's got the whole thing right there, so it didn't hurt his look, you know. And that's another thing we didn't talk about. Ring gear, that's a big thing. That's a big thing in WWE is you can come in thinking this is how I present myself, but they are like when you talked about Keith Lee, I thought the smartest thing that they did for him was put him in a singlet. I thought that was more flattering to his body type, and I think that's why they put him in there. And then what did he do? As soon as he left the company, he went back to wearing the bikers, and you know, it to me it's just less flattering for his body type. And it's like, I guess he thought, no, this is how Keith Lee looks, so I'm gonna do my thing. But it's like, I don't know, man. I think he was doing you a favor.
What you got there, Cedric?
I'm still thinking about it because I don't necessarily like judge a body type unless it's freaking obvious. Because I come from my mindset that there's Baskin Robbins has a whole bunch of different flavors.
Yeah.
There's a flavor for everybody. Some flavors don't work for some people, and you don't gravitate towards those. So, in the grand scheme of things, there's a place for everybody. Yeah. That's how I'll say it about that.
Good answer. I kind of agree with Joey there when he said Bobby Lashley.
Mm-hmm. And
the reason why is because this man has been doing this since he was in the Army, and he trained. I don't know if y'all seen the video. He's even training his own son to get up to where he's at right now. So that says something. The man is like 46 years old and looks like that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That man is old, a little bit. I think he's 46. But we're the same age. That man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And right now, okay, I'm gonna put it to you like this here. The reason why, because like I said earlier in the video, you guys to have endurance in this business, because you can't go 45, 50 minutes like Undertaker and Triple H without having great endurance. You can't be running around the ring like a Braun Strowman when he doing that there. He's a big dude, and he can move pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Otis when he wrestles, he moves pretty good for his size. But if you notice, he has to take a break here and there throughout his matches because he can't go that long. Until he get his endurance up, whether his body type, whether it could be losing a couple of pounds, whether it could be doing a different workout program, I don't know. Different things for different people. He'll never be more than a mid-carder, Otis that is, until he gets better. That's just what it is. Let's just not sugarcoat it and tell the honest to God truth. It's what it is.
I'll say this too. Like I do agree with Cedric in a sense though, because I also think looking at Trevor Murdoch as NWA World Heavyweight Champion, I don't see anything wrong. Like to me, his body type works for his character. It works for what he does, and he's believable. Like he's good. Like, and he's a big dude. Like he's not, but he's not a body guy.
The Harley Race vibes.
yeah. He's a throwback to that, but it totally works for him. It's and he's in the best spot of his career right now, being on top of the NWA. It fits him, like, and I think in the long run, him on top is good for their company. But he's not going to be a body guy. He's never going to be that. He could have went and lost his belly and stuff like that. But honestly, just seeing him out there in the ring, it works for him. And I don't think he should change a thing really. It's kind of like.
That's kind of what I was saying. Like, different people, their body types work different for you. Like I can admit right now, when I was in my teens and my 20s and even my early 30s, I can run a country mile and never get out of breath.
Yeah.
Now I'm a little bit older, got a little gut on me. I can barely make it up the stairs without See, it is what it is,
Yeah.
So let's just the body is something that we all have to take care of. I don't care what we say, how you want to phrase it. We all have to take care of our bodies. And of course, different ways for different people, of course. But when you talk about Trevor Murdoch, that made me think about Dusty Rhodes. He was a big dude that could move and could go. You know what I'm saying, in the ring. So it is what it is. That's what I'm saying. It's different for different people. Yeah. But when you got someone who's been doing this like a Vince McMahon since he was a little bitty kid, he was knee high to a fly. He can bungee jump off of a curve. That's how long he's been doing this. He pretty much can tell what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Now he has went away from the big old muscle bound dudes when he made Shawn Michaels his champion, and he brought in X-Pac back in the day, the 1, 2, 3 kid, what he was at that time. That was his name at that time. So he has kind of went away from that big, strong body type dude, and even a Rey Mysterio. So when he's telling you something, I'm not going to sit here and say believe it to 100%, but take heed of what it is that he's saying. I put it like that.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this too. Like when we're talking about I think one of the reasons I like Kazuchika Okada so much is I think cosmetically, like the package, like his whole entrance, the package, everything. Like he's in shape. He looks good, but he's not a big muscle bound dude. Like he's fit. He's a tall, kind of lanky dude that's fit. But like talking about cosmetic appearance, the reason I buy into his character so well is because it's the whole thing, the Rainmaker persona, the whole thing, the robe, everything. It screams, I'm a big deal when he walks out there. And I think that's something that, him carrying the torch on from like Hiroshi Tanahashi, he kind of upped it a level, like as far as the Tanahashi in Japan was kind of had the rock star gimmick almost. And he, he's the guy that brought New Japan back out of, obscurity back to prominence there because of his popularity. To me, like we're talking about, there's different body types that can be the perfect wrestler type. And I think as far as it goes, if you want to talk about a guy that's got it all, to me, the best in the business right now is Kazuchika Okada. Nobody goes 60-minute matches better than him and stays, and at the end of it can breathe, and speak on a microphone and stuff like that at the end of a 60-minute match better than Okada.
I'm glad you said that. Let me ask you this. Do you think the Big Show would have lasted in a 60-man Iron Man match?
Negative.
Hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, that was a great. Even Stone Cold with Bret Hart. Bret Hart, whatever. That was good. That's my whole point. I'm put it like that. That was my whole point. Big Show can't go that, and he can move. He was pretty good in the ring. Don't get me wrong.
With that said, in the 70s when not going a 60-minute Broadway was almost commonplace. You don't see that often now.
You see it in Japan more.
It's not required anymore.
Well,
because attention spans went from this to that. A lot of folks, you got to be very engaging to do 60 minutes in this day and age.
Yeah, I agree, but I will say you see it more commonplace in Japan. I think it takes the right talent to do it, which is why Kenny Omega, Okada, not just Omega, but Okada's been a guy that's been able to do that in Japan with Tetsuya Naito, with Kenny Omega, and have these compelling long matches that are at least in excess of 45 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Takes the right talent to do it.
Yeah, good point. All right, fellas, we're at that time. We got any closing statements we want to give?
I guess let's put a bow on all this is that we have different personalities, we have different characters, we have different a little bit of everything in professional wrestling, and sometimes a certain character, a certain body type, a certain one that is going to rise to the top. So from my mindset is that There's a place in wrestling for everybody, but not everybody's going to see that next level, because certain things are going to be demanded of people who are quote unquote the face of the franchise, the face of the brand. So yeah.
Okay. You got anything, Mr. Joey?
No, we covered it pretty much.
All
And he's
right,
right. You're
y'all.
right. So that's
Yeah. I mean, this was a good topic. I will be honest. It turned out better than what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Me too.
it turned out way better than I was thinking when we talked about we wanted to, when Mr. Joey said he want to talk about this. All righty now. So we at that hour mark. We're a little bit past it, I should say. We're gonna go ahead and close out here. Gave our final statements. Stay tuned. We said it before. I'm gonna say it again. That we are planning to do big things with this podcast. Planning to grow this. Plan on taking this further than anything imaginable. With that being said, I like that bell. You did that last time. I heard it, but I was like, "What was that?" I thought it was something outside of upstairs in my bedroom or something. I didn't know what it was. All right, but with that being said, we're finna go ahead and get up out of here. I am your host, Mr. Man Up. I have Mr. Joey and Mr. Cedric joining me. I'm finna be rude now and kick all of y'all out of my man cave. I'll holler at you.